Democrats have gerrymandered the vote beyond recognition to try to maintain their advantage in the House elections. On top of that, let's not forget, Democrats rigged the 2020 census by including illegal aliens. Remember, they sued Donald Trump. They sued the administration. They fought tooth and nail to include illegal aliens in the census. 20 to 30 of House Democrat seats wouldn't exist but for illegal aliens. Texas is taking just a small corrective step against this ocean of fraud, this ocean of abuse by the corrupt Democrat Party.
This is what it looks like when the Republicans, after decades of trying to be holier than thou, are finally just a little bit stooping down to the Democrats' level and deciding that they want to play to win. All of these redistricting efforts we're starting to see pop up now. The new census that was announced, take a look at this. A tweet from President Donald Trump earlier today. I have instructed our Department of Commerce to immediately begin work on a new and highly accurate census based on modern day facts and figures, and importantly, using the results and information gains from the presidential election of 2024, where I won all 7 swing states, all 7 of them. People who are in our country illegally will not be counted in the census. Thank you for your attention to this matter. And if you're a Democrat right now and you somehow happened upon this video, this is the part where you dislike this video while you cry and you never come back to this channel because you're going to hate all of the news that I'm about to show right now. You see, President Donald Trump announced this new census, and it is now stacking up on top of all kinds of other movements that the Republican Party is making towards creating a more accurate representation of voters state by state that is going to give Republicans a massive advantage for the 2026 midterms. The midterms that just 2 months ago, Democrats would have assuredly told you they were going to dominate in. It doesn't look that way anymore, though, because with this news of the new census, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has jumped right in now with Texas's redistricting efforts, saying that he's going to redistrict Florida. Florida is redistricting before 2026. The Florida House Speaker just announced a congressional redistricting committee. Governor Ron DeSantis has said he is ready to quickly get a map done before the midterms, joining Texas. This comes after the Florida Supreme Court upheld the ambitious GOP map that got rid of a race-based district in 2022. We could be looking at another additional GOP seat gained minimum. And we could, in all honesty, this doesn't report on it, but we could see 2 to 3 more GOP seats gained, according to the research I've done in Florida when it comes to the Florida redistricting efforts. Here's Florida Governor Ron DeSantis speaking about it side by side with Trump earlier.
Ron, they include anybody that happens to be in your state.
Well, California would lose like 5 seats if they did a fair census. And even beyond that, the Biden census gypped Florida of at least 1 seat. We only got 1 seat in the last census. Are you trying to tell me that Florida only had 1 seat in that? We should have had at least 2. Texas should have had another one. That could be the difference in the House of Representatives and the majority. So I would love for them to redo the census for 26. My legislature will redistrict those lines. We'll get it to where it's fair. But as it's right now, this country is not fairly apportioned. I've got so many more millions of people in Florida that have representation because of that flawed census.
Mr. President, I think it's going to do very well. A lot of people, I don't know if you've heard about it, it's captivated the country. Everybody wants it. It's going to get in. It's going to pass.
And you know, here's the thing. He's completely correct. The Democrat gerrymandering based off of race that happened and occurred under Biden and under the Democrats has been absolutely horrendous when it comes to representing the people of the states accurately. Combine that with the fact that many of these corrupt states attempted, and in some cases absolutely succeeded, in establishing a census where illegal immigrants were allowed to participate in the vote, and then they gerrymandered districts based off of illegal immigrant representation, and you have an absolute absolute disaster on your hands that now Republicans are working to correct. All the while, Democrats are crying about this online, saying it's not fair. This is a mid-decade redistricting. This isn't supposed to happen for another 5 years at least. Well, here's the problem. This was done so corruptly and so abusively the last time that now the Republicans have decided to fix it in the middle of the decade. And on this channel, I've already covered the major news going on in Texas about how the Texas House Democrats fled their state cowardly in order to avoid having to vote on the redistricting efforts in Texas that could see Texas gaining 4 to 5 GOP seats. But other states now are starting to throw their hat in and say, hey, we're interested in this too. We think our district lines need to be redrawn as well. And so breaking news keeps coming in every single day. Breaking: Kentucky could also jump into the 2026 redistricting war by redrawing out the single Democrat district located in the north central part of the state. And you can see there they have one district that is blue, and Kentucky is actively seeking to eliminate that district. You want to make a Democrat cry? Show them this photo and say, hey, that one blue district that's left, the Republicans are looking to get rid of it. They will tell you how unfair this is. But it doesn't just end there. Ohio is also looking to throw their hat in the ring as well and redistrict their entire state in a way that could ultimately end up looking like this right here. This is a projection of what Ohio could look like after redistricting efforts, leaving Ohio with possibly only 3 blue counties left, and Ohio could very likely wind up gaining, I think it's 2 to 3 additional GOP seats. We also have more breaking news. Now, South Carolina could also join the redistricting fight and draw out their gerrymandered Democrat seat. It would target the state's only Democrat district. Representative Ralph Norman, who's running for governor of the state, said South Carolina should abolish our gerrymandered Democratic congressional seat and make every district more competitive. Republicans can win in every part of South Carolina, and we should give the voters the chance to make it happen. There's also talks now of Indiana redistricting their state as well. And in this hypothetically drawn redistricted Indiana map, we could see Indiana picking up possibly 2 GOP seats, or at least one additional one. And so as you can see, these seats keep stacking up, and more Republican states are starting to throw their hat in the ring and say, hey, we need to do this too. Our state is not accurately represented anymore, especially after years of the invasion and flooding of illegal immigrants, followed by the unlawful census by the Democrats to include those illegal immigrants in the vote, followed by the intentional racial gerrymandering by the Democrats. All of it's a catastrophe. More states keep coming. Nebraska is looking to redistrict their state as well. They could go completely red in Oklahoma-like fashion. The lieutenant governor of Missouri has recently come out also in favor of redrawing the Missouri map. This could be done in a way where it would end in a 7-to-1 map with 7 GOP districts and 1 Democrat district. A higher-up GOP state representative of Missouri said it was likely that the Missouri governor will call a special session to redraw. And this is Senator Tim Scott right here, accurately describing why this is happening in the middle of the century and why it's so important. This is a truth that Democrats can't stand.
You think about states like California and New York, they're bleeding people. Why? Socialism doesn't work. They look like they want to try it again, but it doesn't work. So where are they going? They're going to places like Florida, South Carolina, and Texas. Obviously, if you have an incredible increase in population, you want to make sure that you take advantage of the opportunity to redistrict so that no one person has too many people in that district. This is probably the most effective way of getting to the finish line and representing the constituents.
And so, yeah, that's actually one of the other issues I didn't even mention at the beginning of this video. On top of the illegal immigration, on top of the unlawful census that counts intentionally illegal immigrants, on top of the deliberate racial gerrymandering by the Democrat Party, we also have migration. And this is very well known. People are leaving California in droves and heading to Texas. On the other side of the country, people are leaving New York in droves and heading to Florida. Like he said, South Carolina also is a target for that. There's Tennessee, South Carolina. There's so many places, so many states that people leave New York and California from and go to instead. You know, people leave California and go to Arizona, New Mexico, Texas. People are leaving those states because they're a disaster. And so that's just one more reason why the redistricting needs to be done. And what we're looking at here, this is an excellent tweet that sums up what could likely happen with all of this redistricting happen. We could see 5 additional Texas seats we could see 3 to 5 additional Florida seats according to this tweet. I think it's more likely going to be 1 or 2. In Ohio, we could see 2 to 3 seats according to this tweet. I think it's more likely going to be 1 or 2. Indiana, 1 to 2 seats, probably 1. Missouri, 1 seat. Nebraska, 1 seat. And then California, 5 seats. And now this would actually be bad because this is not 5 seats in GOP favor. This would be 5 seats in Democrat favor because Governor Gavin Newsom of California is completely outraged over this. And he is now openly stating about how he's going to find a loophole in California law to redistrict his state and force GOP representatives out, all to fight the Texas efforts. Take a listen to this.
Democrats can't just sit there and act holier than thou and watch this democracy completely be degraded, watch the rule of law degraded, watch a system of co-equal branches of government completely devastated and rolled back in real time by Trump and Trumpism. So we're going to stand up. That district, likely this state, the blue, will get even darker blue. As we respond to Abbott, we respond to Donald Trump, and we assert ourselves much more aggressively.
First of all, I just want to say, since when do Democrats ever act holier than thou? That's been the Republicans' problem for the better part of 30 years, trying to be the righteous party and not stoop down to the level of the Democrats. And it's really cost the Republicans a lot over the years. I think in general, it's why MAGA won back in 2015 and 2016 and why Trump is currently our president. He represents the kind of guy that isn't afraid to go down to their level and play their game against them, and quite honestly, to play it better than they do. And now under his leadership, we're seeing more and more Republicans finally develop a spine and say, hey, we're going to play the game like that too. It's working and it's popular. And so Democrats aren't holier than thou. That's a bunch of BS from Gavin Newsom. But he is using that, of course, as a preliminary excuse for his actions here, which is essentially, he wants to corruptly, unjustly exploit loopholes and try to force out more GOP representatives from California to try to combat the efforts going on in Texas. But as I've just shown you, this will be done in vain because even if he succeeds in doing this in California, so many other states are now throwing their hat in the ring to where if Texas picks up 5, California drops 5 GOP and evens it out. There's all these other states now doing this. Florida is a guaranteed one, for instance. And so it's not even going to matter that much. Combine that with Trump forcing the new census to exclude illegal immigrants from the vote, and the Supreme Court going to be weighing in on racial gerrymandering and the constitutionality of that. If the Supreme Court rules in favor of the GOP on that, where racial gerrymandering will no longer be prohibited, then there's no way for states to work around that, and many states are going to lose Democrat representatives. We have the governor of New York, also the second most liberal state in America, Kathy Hochul. This moron. Texas is trying to rig our elections and pull off a blatant partisan power grab. I'm in Albany with Texas Democratic delegation to discuss a path forward and fight back. And their outrage over this is just delightfully rich, coming from the party that planted Kamala Harris in front of the American people, their party specifically, and said, you're voting for her. The party that hated RFK Jr. so bad that they forcefully removed him from ballots in some states. They tried to remove Donald Trump from ballots in some states. Then, when they saw RFK Jr. switch to a Republican, then they forced him to stay on some ballots in some states to try to interfere with Trump's campaign. This is the party that has deliberately racially gerrymandered, and let's not forget, this is the same party that also made it illegal in California to ask for state ID before allowing someone to vote, all because, again, the deliberate agenda here was flood the nation with illegal immigrants, give them a bunch of free stuff to incentivize their vote for Democrats, and then make sure that they can vote regardless of their citizenship status. But they have the nerve to publicly complain about Republicans not playing fair. This right here honestly sums up the hypocrisy of them so well.
Well, it's hilarious, Harris, to see these Democrats talking about moral clarity and rigging the system, because all of this unfairness was actually started by Democrats, and it was started by Democrats right here in California. People say that when you see this playing out between the states, it's a tit for tat. If Texas moves first, then Illinois and California will respond and so on. No, it was California that started this. In 2008, the people of California voted for an independent commission to draw the legislative districts. What did Democrats do in California? They hijacked and corrupted that process, and they gerrymandered California districts to steal 12 12 House seats from Republicans. That's what started all this. That's what made it not a level playing field. And so when Gavin Newsom, who's now saying that if Texas goes ahead, he's going to call a special election to overturn the California Constitution, to steal another 5 House seats from Republicans, I'm saying no to that. I've been in conversation with my lawyers all weekend. We've got the legal basis now, and we're going to be announcing this tomorrow to stop Gavin Newsom if he tries to go ahead with his further gerrymandering of the district. So we've got to realize who started this. It was Democrats.
100% spot on. Of course, you'll never be able to convince the Democrat voter base of this because they have room temperature IQs and they're so easily gaslit by their own party and so willing to forget recent history in order to cope and believe what their Democrat elected officials are telling them. However, nevertheless, this remains a true fact, and now Republicans are finally evening the odds. And if you're enjoying what you're seeing right now, be sure to subscribe to American Advocates for more content like this to stay up to date with the redistricting news, especially if this is not your first time watching a video. It's 100% free to subscribe. However, if you're somebody who's thinking about moving from Texas to Los Angeles because Texas is too heterosexual for you and you just wish that you had more rainbows painted on the streets that you live in and you wish you could drink water filled with estrogen, then be sure to dislike this video and never come back. Finally, I want to share this with everyone. Let's leave this video on a high note. This is the breakdown of all of the efforts we're seeing from Republicans to create a more accurate representation of the country when it comes to the 2026 midterms and inevitably the 2028 election. It says Democrats stand to lose anywhere between 20 to 40 U.S. House seats if the following events occur. 1. President Trump successfully does the census with no illegal aliens counting in it. 2. Supreme Court ends race-based districts and gerrymandering. 3. As many Republican states redistrict as possible. He says this could be horrible for them. And so a lot of good news appears to be on the horizon when it comes to this. I'll be paying very close attention to this because this is long overdue in this country. Let me know what your thoughts are down below on all of this though, and thanks for watching.